Hola, everyone. This is Molé Mama. Happy holidays. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm holding my little dog, my little Shih Tzu, Sophia. She wanted to be up there and say, Hola, hello, everybody. So I have a special show for you today. I wanted to talk to you about some ideas for holiday food, as well as give you some recommendations, maybe for some gifts, and also talk to you about why, if you can help others, it's a really great time to do that. So, first of all, if you go over to my YouTube channel, Molé Mama Recipes, you can find a video that I made on how to make pozole, which is a Mexican soup with hominy and pork and all kinds of spices. And it's so, so good. And it's my mother's recipe. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to make, to be honest with you, but it's well worth the investment. And the secret to making really awesome pozole, even if you're using somebody else's recipe or it's a family recipe, is to use patitas. So if you don't know what patitas are, it's pork feet. And pork feet, I've talked about it before in some other videos that I've made, is an amazing way to make the best, most delicious stock ever. Now, I know you might be thinking, Molly Mama, you're telling me to use pork feet in my cooking? Yeah, I am. And the way that you can do that, you can do it in a separate pot so you don't have to actually eat the pork feet, although some people love them. I happen to. But just use the stock. The stock is really, really great. And if you're making any dish, actually, any Mexican dish with that requires stock, like if you're going to make some tamales, I also have that recipe on my website at molemama.com using the stock from pork feet from patitas. Delicious. It's like a game changer. So two recipes, pozole and tamales, which are in Latin culture. This is the time, it's Christmas. A lot of people will do holiday tamale making parties. And I know right now we really shouldn't be gathering like that. So maybe making them alone or with your immediate family. But I do have a really delicious recipe there. And I have such fond memories of making tamales with my mother and our extended family. And last year I made them here in my kitchen with some amazing women and their families. And it was just so much fun. And I'm really missing that. But again, I do think that even though things are different right now, I think staying true to some of our traditions, at least for me, has been super, super helpful. And I'm not going to, try to make it like nothing's going on because there's definitely a lot going on right now. And I'm finding that holding on to some of those traditions is really helping. Like decorating your house. I had been really resisting putting the decorations up and just didn't feel like it with everything going on. And we've had some people that we care a great deal about that have been very sick with COVID or who've lost family members. So it's been hard. But my husband kept saying, "Babe, you need to do it. You need to do it." And I finally did it, and I feel good. I feel better. So, and I've spoken to other friends that have said the same thing. So, holding on to some of those traditions right now, maybe it's more important than ever. But so think about doing that, and think about also, in addition to making a pozole or tamales, which are really hard, some other really delicious recipes that my mother used to make for us and that I make for my family that people love are enchiladas. So I have Sonora enchiladas recipe both on my YouTube channel as well as on my blog. They're actually really good to make. And they're like flour tortillas. They're dipped in a yummy sauce with some cheese. And oh, people just love them. Men go crazy for them. So that's another recipe that you could try out this holiday season that your families might enjoy. And then also, I make this queso fundido, and I have talked about it before. My molcajete is behind me, but queso fundido is basically it's like a spicy cheese dip that I'm telling you, people go crazy for. It's so yummy and delicious. It has chorizo and queso fresco and some other cheeses, as well as I do fire roasted poblano chilies in there. And then I cook mine in my molcajete, and it just throw it in the oven and it makes it look really fun. But if you don't have a molcajete, that's okay. You can just make it in a casserole dish. But these are all recipes that I have, like I mentioned, on my YouTube channel as well is on my website. Okay. So those are some yummy recipes to try and to, try our traditions and hold on or make new traditions. But I think one of the things that about this time that's I've been thinking a lot about is just memories and making new memories. And recently, my little niece and nephew came over with their parents. They're 6 and 4. And okay, there's Sophia. She's snoring now. Sorry about that. But I thought, this is kind of an interesting time that we're in. And I pulled out a game that they had never played before, and we had a blast. So I'm going to show you this. But this is loteria. You can probably find it at any Mexican store. It's even on Amazon. I think that's where I got mine. It's basically Mexican bingo. And there's a deck of cards that go along with it. And we would, when I was growing up, play for pennies. So we'd throw pennies in the pot and we would use beans to cover up our cards. And there was all different versions of the card. You can cover the whole card. You can do the four corners. You can do diagonally. So anyway, and we played this with, like I said, and we had such a great time. And it was so fun to have the kids trying to say, La dama, la rosa, el sol, la sandía. So it's also a Spanish lesson. So again, something really fun that maybe you could try out. I know there's a lot of technology. Our family is definitely really into high-tech games and virtual reality gaming and everything, but I'm telling you, this was a hit. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about is maybe some gift ideas for chefs, for anybody, or that you could put on your own list. But I have to say that having a good knife is game changing if you're somebody who loves to cook. Because my husband a few years ago bought me a Japanese knife, a Miyabi, I think it's called, but fantastic. So if you don't know what to get, or you want to put something on your Christmas list that's really going to make your life a lot easier, get a new knife. It's just so much fun and they're amazing. And when I remember opening mine up, and I use a lot of onions in my cooking, and I remember slicing up my first onion, and it was like slicing butter. Like it was that easy, and the amount of time that I've saved. So it's a really, really good investment, and it's just something that makes your life so much easier. Trust me, it'll be so much easier. I also wanted to share with you several of my favorite books and cookbooks that I have just found through different guests that I've had on my podcast. And I use these cookbooks, and I've been cooking Mexican food for decades. So I want to recommend and have you check out Yvette's book, Muy Bueno Cooking. And she did this book with her mother and her sister. And oh my gosh, the recipes that are in here are so delicious. Her empanadas. And, there's just so many different amazing, delicious Mexican recipes in here. And they're easy to make. And she gives you so many great directions on how to do it. So yum, yum, yum. This is a good gift. It's on Amazon. Okay. The other book that just came out by my friend Millie Martinez, Mexico in My Kitchen. Oh, this book is so great. Also, similar to Yvette's book, amazing Mexican recipes made at home with lots and lots of love, with easy directions to follow. Also, one that you can find on Amazon. Absolutely a great book. And I have used to make different recipes. There's things that I can't remember how to make anymore that my mother used to make. So it's been great to be able to go to these two ladies' books and go, oh, that's how you do it. So 2 books, highly recommend these 2. So it's Mexico in My Kitchen, as well as Muy Bueno. Check them out. And then the last book that I wanted to share is You Need Cocktails Right Now for the Holidays. This is Latin Twist. Also, Muy Bueno did this, as well as Sweet Life Bake. It was a joint collaboration. some of the margaritas. It's just, it's very, very fun. I highly recommend it. Okay. So also on Amazon. Last book I wanted to talk about is my own book, Molé Mama, Memoir of Love, Cooking, and Loss. And my book has a few recipes in it, but honestly, it is more as the story of my mom's last 13 months. And there's some sadness in this book. It's about grief, but also a lot of great joy because even though she was very, very sick, it's when I finally really, her main recipes, I was finally able to perfect them because when we cooked together, she would always go behind me in the kitchen and add more seasonings and add a little water, do this, do that. And so I could never perfect her beans. I could never perfect her mole. I just couldn't perfect anything. So because she did that. But when she was sick, poor thing, she was in her hospital bed. And I was able to make those recipes and just give her a little bite. And then she was able to tell me what was missing. And that's how I perfected it. And also, my readers of my book talk about my book being a combination of Kiss with Maury and Like Waterford Chocolate combined. Because there's a lot of cooking, there's a lot of laughter, but there's also, my mom is very, very sick. And I have been hearing from, quite a few readers recently with COVID who are losing family members that the book is really helping them. So something to think about. All right. Now, earlier when I was talking about my recipes, I can't believe it. I forgot to tell you to check out my mole recipes. So I have my mother's mole rojo recipe, her authentic recipe that uses all the dried chilies, and it's spicy and it's delicious. And again, it's complicated, but it's so good. And I also recently came up with a 30-minute version of that where you just use dry ingredients and you can get everything that you need from Amazon. It's super, super easy to make. And really, it does take 30 minutes. And it's spicy and it's delicious. And you can use chicken or leftover turkey or sweet potatoes, whatever you want to add to the mole. And it's easy. Our Spanish rice recipe is also there. And beans. I have all kinds of beans recipes. And it's winter. So I actually have a pot of black bean right now on my stove that I just cooked this morning. So you can learn how to make some yummy beans. So lots of stuff for you to check out and try during these winter months, during the holidays. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about is, if you can, think about donating to local charities, food banks. I know that they're really, really struggling. There's so many people out of work right now. And this is something really dear to my heart. My mother would always, whoever came over, she always fed everyone. And maybe sometimes all we had was beans and rice and tortillas, but she always fed them. And she never wanted anybody to be hungry. She had grown up during the Depression, so she had a lot of stuff around that. And I grew up on a farm, on a dairy farm, and we always had so much food because my father grew a lot of our food. We raised animals, so we always had tons of food. And it wasn't until I went away to college that I experienced real hunger. Because when I was in school, like I mentioned, my family didn't have a lot of money. So I put myself through school and I was working and paying for school. And there were many times that I did not have $20 in my bank account to take out. And I would live on until, my next paycheck from my waitressing job. I'd be living on pancakes made with water, with no eggs, and hot dogs. And there were some times that I didn't get to eat anything. So I experienced it firsthand, and it really hit me because I had grown up with just so much abundance. There was just always food to go to this place where there wasn't. And I was trying to, scramble and hustle with jobs to have money to actually buy food. So right now, think about what you can do. I think $1, $5, whatever it is that you can share. And I know that, my husband and I just keep talking about how we feel so incredibly blessed that we're both working right now, that we're employed, that, we have those things. So we have both been trying to do definitely more charitable things than we probably have done in a really long time. And I know for some of you working, some businesses actually do a matching program. So I'm fortunate enough to work for a company that up to a certain dollar amount, any amount of money that I contribute, they actually contribute at 100%. So like if I contribute $20, that means that the charity will get $40. So and I know that in other times that I've been working, I might be lax to set it up, or I might be like, next month I'll get that going. But if you have a program like that right now, it's a really good time to look into that and see if you can help our other brothers and sisters that might be having a hard time. And I especially feel for the people in the food industry, with how many restaurants are out of business, going out of business forever, et cetera. And I know that the county that I'm in California, we just went back on lockdown today. So, which means, a lot of these people that were working at restaurants and doing hair and other things will all be out of work. So, how can you help? Ask yourself how you can help. I think it's time that it's a good time to think about that. All right. So, I will be talking to you again soon. I hope that you are well and safe. And with all the recipes that I mentioned, you can always reach out with absolutely any questions. You can do that on Instagram. You can do that on YouTube. Those are the two channels, honestly, that I'm most often on. I find it sometimes hard to be on Facebook too, but those two, if you try Instagram, private message me, or on YouTube, I definitely am there quite a bit. And any questions, I'm happy to help you. I know that I've helped many of our listeners with recipes that are either on my channel or just questions about other things that they're making. They can't remember how to do something that their mother or their grandmother, and I've been able to help. So happy to do that. All right, my loves, be well, be safe. And as my mother always said to me, que Dios te bendiga. May God bless you. And remember to put the most important ingredient to every recipe you make, your love. And Sophia says, bye. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Be well, everyone.